Devin, this AI software engineer that kind of shook a lot of the software engineering world up, as well as the world as a whole, that's been saying for years now that like AI is going to replace everything when it comes out, especially in the last like year and a half now, where we've seen like ChatGPT. Devin's been at the forefront for at least the last month that says, hey, this is not just a problem for like people who work fast food jobs where we've seen robots doing like their tasks, like flipping burgers, answering the people when they come to the drive-thru and giving them their food all in one. There's in like how it's been said that like, oh, it'll only replace lower worker tasks. Devin kind of spit in the face of that and showed that like, hey, this is not just an issue for people with normal repetitive task type of jobs, but no, this is a issue for blue collar people as well, who have these higher order thinking, you know, tasks, or at least that's how it's portrayed, at least, right? And it does seem like Devin was actually going to be doing that. They had this demo where Devin was on like Upwork or some type of consulting, some type of like gig working website, where Devin was looking for jobs, getting these jobs, and then doing these tasks as a software engineer all by itself, which was pretty crazy. Like, you have never really seen this before up until now. There's been other freaking like code snippets around and like AIs that maybe did like little tasks here and there. Even like ChatGPT and Claude 3 can spit out some code, right? Gemini actually just came out and said like, hey, we're going to be releasing an AI dedicated towards programming and code, but it's not something that's on the level of Devin, where we're seeing Devin doing all this by itself. Devin was really touted as that, but a engineer of 35 years has just came out. His YouTube channel is Internet of Bugs and came out and basically just debunked this, saying like, Devin isn't as good as you think it is. Let me preface that by saying he did say it's pretty good, but it's not as it's claimed. He was able to do the same task that Devin did in about 30 minutes, which is pretty fast. But he said Devin took a little bit longer as in like 6 hours. That's a multiplier on how long it took for Devin to do the same task, as well as he pointed out that Devin wasn't just taking longer. Devin was creating code and doing some tasks that didn't need to be done, as well as these tasks and the code that was built was creating bugs, and it was just fixing his own bugs. So how much of that time was Devin doing things that didn't need to be done, as well as creating bugs and fixing things that it did and introduced on its own? Crazy, right? And so basically they were saying that the instructions for the task that Devin was doing was kind of in front of Devin at the whole time. The engineer showed that in the video where it said like, basically copy this command line prompt, paste it in, and it'll do it for you. Both Devin and the engineer both seen an error, but the engineer of course was able to handle it faster because it understood what was going on more than the AI. So the engineer came out on top. But I mean, there is a case to say that like, well, this engineer has like 35 years of experience of actually coding and debunking versus this AI. And yeah, it may have took this, let's say like senior level, if not technical architect level engineer, 30 minutes to finish this particular task. And it took this AI like 6 hours to complete this particular task. If you've ever been a developer at any time, it has always been a moment in every developer's life where you're stuck on something. You could be stuck on something for minutes, 30 minutes, hours, maybe even days, to be honest with you. And a senior level developer and technical architect, somebody who's been in the game, been in the trenches for years, can come in and just look at it and be like, oh yeah, you're missing this or you're missing that, or just write a line of code, be able to fix it on the fly. And so with him being a 30-year-old vet in the game, it kind of makes sense where he could be able to fix this faster than an AI. And yes, it may not be as good as it claimed to be, but Devin was also something that could still be a problem, especially with like junior developers, where like junior developers sometimes don't always get everything and get the context of everything. It may not be as efficient as somebody who's a 30-year vet in the game, to be honest. Devin could have maybe solved a task faster than somebody who's a junior dev, especially if that junior dev isn't familiar with the task that is put upon, right? Let's say a junior dev who's a front-end developer, normally you gave it back-end developer task. They may not really know what the heck to do with these back-end developer tasks as a front-end developer. Even though they get like basic code concepts, they may not get like the syntax or how to put it together. That's stuff takes time. Even though this is not what Devin did here, I'm just giving a scenario where Devin would maybe be better than a junior dev. But just like in the job market right now, nobody wants junior devs. And Devin's not going to help out with junior devs or entry-level positions. And I think that's the problem, because we see in every job title that everybody wants a senior dev. Everybody wants somebody who's already experienced, or already been in the trenches, already been in battle before. And Devin kind of does have a way to, like, you know, be a cheaper alternative than trying to get a junior developer to do stuff. And let's be honest, this is still the beginning stages of Devin, and it will get better. But I think where a junior dev is better at than Devin is even if it took them like comparable times to get this thing, I don't think the potential to introduce code that's gonna be an issue and just spinning his wheels where Devin did that. I don't think junior devs will do that. I don't think it will be writing just lines of code, you know, just creating these issues. I think a dev would be more so what we call in the industry as a blocker. The dev would just be blocked, not knowing how to progress forward, where Devin is constantly progressing. But just because you're constantly progressing doesn't mean it's, you know, meaningful progress. I think the junior dev would probably just reach out to somebody or hit Google or something like that, or maybe hit AI in general. But Devin is still pretty cool. We'll see how fast it's progressed. I think, you know, there's a case to be made that Devin is, you know, good, and yeah, it is in its beginning stages, but how fast will this actually progress? We don't really know how much more like progressive would Devin actually be in the long term, because AI as a whole, even like ChatGPT, OpenAI, Elon Musk, a lot of these people have said the same thing about an issue right now with AI is its processing. We're like, how well can it process data? They need more chips, you know, bigger graphics cards and everything in order to cater to the needs of the demand for AI in order for it to progress. We may really be at the kind of cutting edge or the limitations of what we can do with AI at this standpoint. Not like it will never get better, but we may need to have another few years of before it's another huge change like we've seen, where it's like no AI, and then we had ChatGPT, and then we had Gemini and all this other stuff. So it's still pretty interesting to see how everything's progressing right now.